almost zero learning curve. Similarly, the other thing would be, if I have an Excel model, whatever that Excel model is, assume that it's an investment banking model. It contains 20 sheets, I don't care. At the end, we'll ask him that create two new sheets called inputs and outputs. In the inputs, I'll go and put all the inputs that went into defining this model. In the outputs, I'll put all the charts or the tables, whatever constitutes the outputs that he would like to see. And then he basically clicks on a button called create dashboard. That will take him to a new screen. In the new screen, he will have an option of basically the inputs will be scattered here. So let's say the inputs is time in years. That's the label. Here he gets the time to enter the time. Start date, he gets to enter the start date. End date, he gets to enter the end date, or whatever. The outputs will be, this is the outputs, it will be table, it will be some chart like this. Now this is scattered. Basically we should have a provision of doing something like this. I say create strip. If I create a strip, it's just a rectangular box. In the rectangular box, I'll drag and drop this here, drag and drop this here. So that will be my inputs. And I'll create another strip which is called outputs. That's a rectangle here, in which I drag and drop the table here, drag and drop the chart here. I can zoom plus or minus the chart size and basically fit it like an object the way PPT does. I can drag and place it wherever, and then I say publish. It creates an application with a URL. So this step is creation of an existing model with no sheetcraft functions in this workbook. So there is zero learning curve. That is converted into this. The whole thing is designing your UI. We don't want to keep the same format of spreadsheet, but to allow him to make it visually appealing and intuitive application for the end users. Number two, I think this one would be a much more value add, is if you are able to allow him to slice and dice this data, create a sample file on which he setups a. So we've created a Chinese wall between the data and the actual analysis. We can expand the analysis as much as we want, but before we think about the process UI, which I think is going to be very challenging, this thing is definitely doable. Then we'll add as step 3 2 to 3 operations. The operations could be something like a filter, it could be something like sorting, it could be something like metrics like average, standard deviation, median, mode, blah blah blah. It could be something like small, very small level of logic. So basically it's not it's